My name is James Dankwitz, and I'm a current teacher at Scotch College in Melbourne. I'm making this video to address an important issue. My goal is not to single out any of the parents or students involved, but to hopefully make people re-evaluate their values as Australians and as humans. Recently, an incident occurred between some of my students, Caucasian and privileged, and a refugee student. Without naming any individuals, I found the refugee student crying in a deserted hallway of the school. He had crawled into a wall, blocking out the toxicity of the outside world. He had been verbally abused to the point that he was scared for his own safety. This innocent student admitted to the things that the white student said. "You're a terrorist. You don't belong here." And the disgusting list of verbal abuse went on and on. When I asked him who did this, he was terrified that I would publicise the state that he was in. A question immediately sprang to my mind. Why would anyone do such a thing? How can society progress if we are continuously dehumanising one another to the point of breaking each other to tears? I'm certain that many of you watching this, due to your privileged background or ethnicity, do not know what it's like to experience prejudice. However, this innocent teenager has that memory ingrained into his brain. So I pose the question to you. Do you accept this harassment as a just outcome? I don't. After I helped the refugee student, I sent the offenders to detention. Due to their previous misdemeanours, the boys were suspended from the school football team. Seemingly, sport is the most important aspect of their education. But that's another topic for another day. Unsurprisingly, due to this punishment, I've received aggressive backlash from members of the school community, and complaints have been sent to the school principal from these boys' parents.
Dear Mr. Scott, as you know, my son was involved in an incident recently and I would like to make a formal complaint. My son is devastated that he can no longer participate in the upcoming football competition and I am questioning that decision. I'm aware of the event that occurred and this punishment is an overreaction. They were just boys being boys. What community are we breeding here if we cannot accept these actions for what they were? A couple of boys just fooling around. The comments that they made were harmless. In my educated opinion, the refugee student should be the one in trouble. They would have brought their bad behaviour into our college, being from a more uncivilized society and all. The other student most likely doesn't even pay his tuition fees, yet it is my son, whose family donates generously to the college fund, who is paying the price. The teacher, Mr. Dankwitz, is being cowardly and overprotective. He's a perfect example of an increasing number of Australians who are offended at anything. I have mentioned the events that transpired with other members of the board, and many have taken my standpoint that this punishment is unjust. Hopefully you can now see the situation for what it was and be the remedy to this misunderstanding.
Yes, these actions by the boys may seem minuscule. However, in a large-scale society, they can have detrimental effects. Racism is like a rash that is overpowering and makes you uncomfortable in your own skin. Australia has progressed towards equality, especially in the legal stance. However, the majority of Australians are still instilled with those racist beliefs. It must change. How can we call ourselves an accepting, multicultural, and equitable nation if many of us white people have maintained these privileged colonial beliefs from over 200 years ago? The historical practice of the racist treatment towards Indigenous Australians can still be seen today, just through a different pair of lenses. The fact that many Australians cannot recognise the value of refugees talks greatly about the intelligence of our population. Obliviously, racist Australians chant, "They take our money, they take our jobs." However, they are the citizens performing jobs we feel too entitled to perform. Yes, Australia is multicultural. However, white power continues to surge with no end in sight. You don't always know the whole story. This refugee student is the only fluent English-speaking person in his family. His family might be stripped of their visas and deported back to the war-torn country of Iran. Then he came to an established boys' school, where everyone is supposed to treat him fairly, and he is prejudiced against because of the colour of his skin. As an Australian, I am disgusted. Our racist ideologies must disappear, and we must finally move past the ways of our dark and horrific past.
Good evening. I am Micah Scott, current principal of Scotch College. I'm making this short clip to address a recent issue within our college with regards to a couple of students and a refugee student. Now, it is clear that the actions of these students were inappropriate. Bullying is not accepted within our school community. However, after reviewing the delivered consequences, we have discovered that suspending the boys from the upcoming football competition is far too harsh. We can ensure that they have been deterred and they will not act in similar ways in the future. Revoking the punishments is an issue of fairness, ensuring that we apply equality to all aspects within our college. I hope this has cleared up any questions with regards to the issue and we can all put this behind us. Thank you.
Hi again. I'm here to talk further about the issues I recently raised in my last video. Due to the complaints made to the principal, it was decided to revoke the punishment towards these students involved. I don't have any specific hatred towards these students. Rather, I am bitterly disappointed in our culture. Although it was not stated, these actions are most likely due to the boys' parents being on the board as well as being large donors to the college. I guess we truly do live in a world where money and privilege rule over justice. Money and privilege give people the authority to mistreat and harm others. I know this is just one case, but I know there are thousands of others living in Australia falling victims to such actions. These everyday tragedies are hidden among us, exploited by the flaws of Australian culture. If we own up to our mistakes and recognise how rotten our society is, then there can be positive change. We can make Australian culture what it promises to be. But until then, our past will continue to be our future.